Hey, this is Lisa Lee and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do a reading. It's interesting. This is definitely a divergence from the stuff that I normally do. But we're going to do a reading with a local historical figure. It's a little bit strange, but I got this book and I was sort of thumbing through it, and every once in a while, I don't consider myself a medium. I don't actually, the gifts I have are pretty much like everything else is well developed, and that's not as well developed because I don't really well develop it. But it's sometimes something will kind of come through. And so I was reading this and there was and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a reading. Since I'm in the Wild West, I'm gonna do a Wild West reading, and we're gonna channel John and see what comes forth. And so we'll do a little bibliomancy too, which is when you flip through a book and point to something, but I'll do that towards the end. So we're going to ask historical figure questions, what do you wish people knew about you? And the blurb below, if you're not familiar with regional Wild West figures, the blurb below will tell you. But this is a Billy the Kid, the gun, what is that? Lincoln County War, that crew. So look in the information section and you'll see a bio. I'll put something together. But anyway, the questions are going to be what do you wish people knew about you? What life advice do you want to offer? And this is where I think this reading can actually be for more than just the 5 people that might be interested in that. Life advice from somebody long gone, as in long gone, actually. I'm getting 40 something, 43 something, 44, I don't know, I gotta look, but well over 100 years ago. So let's just do this. It's going to be interesting. For those of you that are interested, I'm curious. I think it'll be fun. So we're going to start with asking, what do you wish people knew about you? Asking John Henry Tunstall, what do you wish people knew about you? And let's get started. Are we started? We're definitely rolling. All right, let's do it. This is really I have not done things this way before. I usually just work with angels because it's a very straightforward energy. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here. Because this energy is really excited. I'm very excited right now. So let's see where this takes us. So what do you wish people knew about you? And his life, he's from the UK, I think Hackney, and came over on a boat to do some, to invest his family's fortune, I think, in something good. And then serious injustice ensued over in Lincoln County, New Mexico. It was I don't know, I can find out more, but let's go and start with this. So what do you wish people knew about you? Interesting. Oh, wow. So interesting. So, murdered. I mean, we knew that already. But the deck underneath, the bottom of the deck energy, this is sort of the underlying energy of this whole part of this question, is very much what people want. I think that this, I'm trying to channel, this is harder than usual. Let me listen for a second. There's something about the death, and we'll find out more. So with the Hierophant in reverse, I think that this I'll just say your name, right? John Henry. All right. This energy really is very funny, kind of has a really witty kind of a personality, a little bit impatient even. So this energy is sort of wanting to convey that like a sort of typical life path was never really of interest. But there were some serious losses here that are still in. This is very strange. Like, I just have to like take a break and like talk to the audience for a second, like the 4 people that are watching this. This is definitely an interesting, there's a lot of information that John wants to bring through here. And so I'm gonna try and like not have this be as entertaining as it would be if I was going for entertainment, because this is actually not like a little nothing. This is actually kind of a lot. So John really wants to say that the structure failed him. Structure failed him completely. And that it wasn't just a loss for him and his family, but that there was something greater at play here, that actually like the loss of it like put a, I'm hearing like the territory was hung, like what this is, no, like there's something that was supposed to move forward that ended up being like just stagnancy, and that structure failed. And actually it's almost feeling like there's a sense in which like government kind of failed, which is on like a sentiment that I wasn't. So there's actually like a lot of complaint here about systemic failure, and like that this was somebody who was here, who traveled here to offer something like very significant, and that the loss of that like had a very stagnating effect on the whole territory, like writ large. There's like a big way in which something was supposed to be born and it wasn't. This left the territory like in a kind of poverty that wouldn't have been there had things gone the other way. That there was like a very good start to these plans, but that the conflict, that attack and the conflict that ensued really reduced everything that was like on offer to this territory down to, you know, what now amounts to like a gift of like petty friendship is almost what's coming through. And so like there's a sense in which like the wounds of the past aren't completely healed on this matter. I mean, there's like, I'm being shown like the flowers, like there's been a lot of growth, and this has been like, wow, this is interesting. I'm being shown, let's look closely at this card. It looks like a statue with flowers coming out of it, and like the swords are still in it. So there's a sense, yeah, there's a lot that isn't resolved. I'm hearing there's a lot that isn't resolved, that has never been resolved. Whew, all right. Let me grab some water. So I see that. So just so that we can move through this in a way, because your energy is, I'm talking to John, your energy is so urgent, and we're like, there's time here to explain some of this stuff. There just is. So you're saying that there's like a huge loss here for the territory, and it like pushed the area into a poverty that wouldn't have been there otherwise, had it gone the other way. So like, can you give us a sense of like what way, like what were you seeing, like what are you seeing even now, like what happened, or like this seems very important to you. So how so? Like, hold on, let me get the question right. So this seems incredibly important to you, to point out that the loss was great. And I know that the loss was great. And that this was but I'm hearing like the systemic failure of the structure continues is what I'm hearing. Uh-oh. All right, so let's keep going and see why. So let's tell me a little bit more about this, like what the alternative path that you're seeing is in terms of like dealing with this, because I think that's what you're getting at. Yeah, like start over, the Fool card. This is like you need a completely new start in the way that you see things, with the Judgment card with the Judgment card in reverse at the bottom of the deck, the way that you see things, the judgment that you made on how you see things, like there needs to be a totally new way of looking at it. This is like a very intelligent, like there needs to be a whole new way of looking at it. Is there still opportunity for this territory, like in this way of new looking at it? Or are you moving, like, what do you, like, where are you leading with this? Because, like, I hear a lot of, like, frustration even. Like, what do you want to see happen is basically what I'm asking you. Healing. That's this card of healing. Yeah, it's like, this isn't it. Like, John feels like stuck, and there needs to be a level of healing. Like, this is stuck in time in a way that isn't conducive to healing. So, all right. So how, like, what would be, let's find out, what would be something that would be healing? I'm going to switch decks, actually. Give me a healing plan with this whole situation in the way that you think it should be. Let's see what it says. See what you say. Your energy his energy is very, he's strong, actually. It's a very strong energy. So let's take a look. What's coming through here? So how do you see this healing coming in? Like, with this, what is the shift of this perspective that you think that will, like, what's the perspective? Can I have your perspective? Can I have your perspective on what would bring healing? Okay. So investment and a choice to, so we've got the Page of Cups twice over here. So there's a sense of Michelle with the Devil on the bottom. Ooh, ow. Yeah, I think that there's maybe there's a sense of feeling a conflict, wanting to offer this. See, this is something that, like, did not go well for this person in this country. I mean, that's what we have to understand right now, is that, like, this is someone who came here for everything that everybody else came here for. And like, just seeking to, like, you know, secure a better future for their family. And things went very, very badly. There's like there's a legal case. There's a legal case that cost a lot of money. And there's a desire to sort of set that straight. Yeah, there's like an injustice, like frustration, like like, you call me a friend. That's what I'm seeing with the Page of Cups. You call me a friend and that make a lot of money. But this is not good for me. Because I don't think that this, I don't think John sees it that way. So let's just see. So that's angry. Yeah, with the Knight of Cups here. So we have, like, this Knight of Cups over here too. There was, like, a desire to bring something really valuable. And there was a choice that was made at a certain point. Yeah, to mischaracterize. Is it mischaracterize? What is this? With the Ten of Swords, like, this person lost everything is basically what's coming through. And this was 10 swords in the back of, like, betrayal and horrible. And so it's very hard to, like, you know, look at what was offered with a pure heart and see that, like, you know, that this is being treated in a way that, especially with this Page of Cups energy, it seems like, I'm even getting, like, there's a sense in which, like, the story's been made about a kid. It's really what is getting through, is like this story has turned into something that was like you know, about a kid, and about something that it wasn't trivial, and there's a desire to have, like, friendship in a sense, but there's got to be a new, it's like, don't try to balance. Oh, interesting. The message is almost like, don't try to balance the two factions. Like, there was a right one and a wrong one. Like, that was what it is. And so it's like, you know, making this story, like, there's a desire to see the story be told true, and, like, actually, like, have people react to the injustice, like, where it was. Like, it's not just a story. Like, there's something very significant about the nature of this injustice, like, related to this territory, that needs to be healed. Yeah, there's this is this Tower moment. Like, I'm getting that what happened to him change the trajectory of the entire territory. And that now, like, when you have so much violence, like, what is built on top of it is a bad foundation. And it was all this violence, right? It cost a lot of lives. A lot of lives. I'm hearing a lot. And so, you know, with the Queen of Swords, there's a sense in which there needs to be some job, like there needs to be like a thinking, a critical thinking sort of mind that looks at this conflict, you know, head over heart, very clear, very confront, like just looking at it very clearly. This energy is like, if you look at this clearly, like there's no like question about like who is right and who is wrong, and where there was wrong, like we just need to call it what it is. You know, I'm hearing like it's not, you can't like draw a parallel. Yeah, like there's a definite right and there's a definite wrong, and this is a definite injustice, and to like speak about it ambiguously is actually, it's like a stain on like our system. It's a stain on our system. It like continues a failed system. To not like actually look at this with attention that says like there was a wrong and a right. There may have been like competing ambitions, I'm hearing, but there was a wrong way to do things and a right way to do things, and the people doing things the wrong way persist, and I'm hearing persist. I'm like, I mean, I don't know like what the local politics are. I'm really like not wanting to get into that fight, but this is me, Lisa, kind of like coming through and just sort of like stopping, because I like it, you know. I think it's a good, like, worthy endeavor with the death card in the back, you know. Obviously, there's so much passion from John about this. Like, it's like really intense, and I understand why. But I want to get through like all of the questions, because I don't think that this is something that like gets solved in it, you know, like a tarot reading. I do think maybe this is good for conversations and stuff like that. Let me just like, John is like, you woman. Like, there's this energy that is like very like, all right, let's let him finish. Sorry, laughing. He's like, what are you doing? I'm saying something. All right, let me finish. Let's let him finish what he's saying. So he's saying like there's, you know, there's work to be done here on looking at not trying to balance everything, not trying to have such a balanced opinion about this. Like, you know, in all fairness to the people who were killed unjustly, and not in response to, or, you know, I mean, all of the killings are in my mind, Lisa, injustice. But you know, John's saying like, you know, to be fair to the people is to like call it what it is, and not have this be like a conflict that, you know, is constantly being weighed. You know, I'm hearing how houses weighed against, yeah, they were like houses, I guess. So to see things clearly, like that's one thing that's super important. And like, what else are we gonna, like, so, okay. Yeah, you know, like this is, John's like, I kind of just want like things to, I want my energy to be in its proper place and like its proper stature in terms of like the contribution to that entire area, which I'm like hearing still benefits. Like there's a sense in which like there's a judgment here. Like make a decision related to like this person's like rightful place in the story that isn't that of a catalyst, because even though he said, yeah, like a catalyst, but like not a catalyst. Like there was a wrong and there was a right, and people thought it was wrong. And that's the war was over like people being wrong and then people being right, and the people who were being right, he's saying that the story is that the people who are right and fought for the right thing. I'm hearing like, what is that? I'm saying like this is very intense. He feels really intense about this. What is it? When the story is told wrong, the story is told as, okay, I'm gonna have to, like, this John gets very frustrated, actually. What? Calm. What is it that I'm not getting here? Oh, there's something to the truth as being really important, because what happened, the truth of the story is that the good guys and the bad guys fought and the bad guys won. And John is saying that's not an acceptable story. And so what needs to be said is that, like, that this is the way in which the territory behaved. And for there to ever be like a level of reform, like it has to be like a one of like, I'm almost hearing contrition, like this is what happened and we are sorry kind of a thing. Because like this, John's like, I'm like, this is unfinished. There's a sense in which this feels like very trapped. He feels trapped kind of by the fact that like this contention is like, this is not solved. Like this is not like, it's very specifically like wants, warring factions is not like, he's like right and wrong, like the good guys and the bad guys, like don't call it like two competing anything. Very passionate about this. And I think that this has him really kind of, I'll ask about like stuck maybe. I mean, let's see, at the bottom of the deck, it's like, no, not like stuck. There's a sense in which is, he's very independent and he's able to, but this is something that is a stuck point that ought to be dealt with, I think. So what John would like people to know that they don't, what do you wish people knew about you, is this is a systemic failure, like of a system that failed him and his family and everybody involved, and the story should be told like the right way, and he should have his proper place in the story as somebody who was trying to do the right thing to like build business and commerce in an area, so that area would grow, and that these other people were invested in keeping the area small and impoverished. And that the war was between somebody who was trying to do, like I'm hearing like, the patriotic thing, which is create like a thriving business following all of the rules. I'm hearing like citizenship is not really, I'm getting like an insistence that the rules were to be followed and they were followed, and that like that's I'm hearing like that's the American thing to do, right? Follow the rules of like being of decency, where these and he's saying like they were murdering people to keep the territory small and impoverished so that they could continue what they were doing, which was hurting people in every direction. And that this is part of like, it's like here like showing me like what is that, like like this is a sore on the face of that area, is kind of the way that John is looking at it. So let's just hope that okay, so so that's what John would like everyone to know, that he's the good guy and that he should have his rightful place as the good guy in the story, who is trying to like help enrich the area with variety and competition so it could be fairer. And like then what happened was very contrary to that, and so the story should be told in this way officially. And he's like actually kind of like speaking about I keep on hearing territory, so I think he's like speaking specifically about the territory, which, so maybe the territory needs to like apologize or something, I don't know. Well, should I? Yeah, he's like, this is fine, we're good here. All right, we're gonna ask the next question of what life advice do you want to offer? So this is for like everybody who like generally watches my readings. Like we do it for the life advice. This is such a diversion. I mean, I'll put it up. It's funny. Let's see what happens. We can do. I'm sorry, I was shuffling. Wanted me to show the Emperor card, like John's like, I'm very much like I'm in my Emperor sort of he feels good. I mean, he's not like, yeah, he said like he really does feel good about his legacy. He just doesn't like the way in which like there seems to be an ambiguity where there isn't, in his mind, any ambiguity at all. All right, so let's keep going. So we're gonna go to life advice in a second. I'm just gonna reshuffle these cards, and that was very passionate, very passionate. That came through. Okay, so It's a very sweet energy, actually. Very, like, big-hearted energy. So let's keep going. Yeah, it's such an injustice. Honestly, like, from the energy that I'm, you know, experiencing and, like, feeling and, like, interacting with, like, this is... Yeah, I guess because the distance, you know, is so much through time, but like this is really very horrible. What happened? There's no two ways about that. So let's keep going. All right, so we're gonna do. All right, so John, John, what life advice do you want to offer these people watching on YouTube? I don't know, 5 of them. I don't know what's gonna be. Let's keep going. All right. This is definitely like a fun way of doing these readings. I just don't generally, this is not the way I usually do it. So, John, what life advice do you want to offer? You've been gone a while now. I actually want to ask you about that, but let's just keep going with this. So what life advice do you have? Aw, that's so sweet. Okay, let me keep going. This is, you know, it's funny because like I was reading this book or whatever, but like I don't think it comes across like in any of the, well, maybe a little bit, but John has such a sense of humor, like so effing funny. Like I can't even begin. Like it's a masculine energy. He's like, I don't know, 80% like sense of humor almost, and then the rest is just like a lot of passion and a lot of virtues, but like so funny. Not 80, he's like not 80%. But yeah, so we're just gonna get some clarifiers here. All right. So bottom of the deck energy, you know, basically like what's coming through in terms of life advice, like more than anything else, is like, you know, I'm hearing like he's like, you know, neglecting. Yeah, it's almost like it's a message about like, be careful with sacrifice. You know, be careful with sacrifice, because there's a need to, you know, be just as concerned about your emotions. Like I'm hearing like mastering your emotional. What is it? We've got the Queen of Cups and we've got the King of Cups, and so like you know, and what's over here? Yeah, so we got and so basically it's like, you know, there's a masculine and feminine side of all of us, and so this is really about like gaining that emotional mastery. So almost like saying gain your emotional mastery. Yeah, so the bottom of the deck energy, he's saying like you want to gain your emotional intelligence mastery over your emotional intelligence area before you really launch out into the world. There's a sense in which like that should be the first thing that you work on, is like knowing. Yeah, I'm hearing like having like the emotional intelligence, because it's very easy to see. He's showing me like, you know, it's very easy to have bad judgment about people, much easier than you might think. And so, you know, the advice is very much to get your like emotional body like balanced and in check before you head out. With the Page of Swords here, yeah, see, with the Page of Swords, you know, in reverse over here, it's like, you know, you want to have this part of yourself like very well formed before you head out on a new path, or it's not going to really be that stable. That you want to make because the most important thing in terms of partnerships and like going out and doing things is like having strong relationships. And if you want to have that like intelligent, safe, good judgment about people, you have to make sure that like that's the first order of business, I'm hearing, is getting that emotional intelligence in place so you can make good decisions about who you trust. Because you're not going to get anywhere if you if you don't have a good judge of character and ability to judge characters. there's a need to not overly, wait, I gotta like pay attention for a second. He's like a very passionate, he's saying like, okay, so another piece of advice is to love like the way that you want to, like he's saying like, if you're in love with someone, don't let other things like get in the way. Like to put love first before other stuff. So sort of in the vein of like emotional intelligence, like to actually like, yeah, like a regret is not putting like romantic love like in any way a part of things, I think. Like I think I just shared too much. There's a moment here. Hold on. Okay, like I'm getting his like fiery side a little bit. Okay, I have to slow down. Like he's saying like, you know, being very business oriented really only gets you so far. It doesn't produce the quality of life that relationships and investing in family and relationships should. And so and also your passions, like don't, like really this piece of advice is like, don't like repress everything, you know, for a single goal. Because like almost saying like life is, yeah, he's showing me like the house. So this card means passionate new beginning, or like setting out on passionate new, like, you know, adventures, chasing something, you know, but this card in specific means like that the divine is offering you a passionate start in a direction. And that, or actually this can also be like an inspiration, like there's a lot, but like I'm trying to, but what's coming through in terms of what John's trying to say is like ambition second, love first. Perfect, right? Perfect, yeah. Ambition, so love first, ambition comes second. First comes love, then comes ambition, not the other way around. He says, speak the truth with love. To speak the truth with love is really important. That there were times in his life where he felt like if he could go back, it would be important for him to say things with love. Where he didn't say things with love, the delivery was harsh when it could have been loving, because it was coming from a loving place. To speak with love, to be honest and speak with love, instead of just, you know, being somewhat cut off from your emotions in the way that you attend to people or deal with people. He's saying that like there's always options, you know, when you're really hitting a lot of conflict, to like, instead of like pushing forward and pushing forward and pushing forward and pushing off, yeah. So like instead of like being like a buffalo about it, to realize that like if something's not working, it's not working for a reason. And that there are always options. Like there's not like just one way that you can achieve any of your, like, yeah, I'm hearing like if you want to achieve a goal like related to business or he says like entrepreneurial, kind of, yeah, something about, yeah, because like very ambitious, obviously. If you could feel this, you'd see. But like, yeah, he says like sometimes conflict is really instructive for you to look elsewhere. And so when you, you know, experience like conflict, you know, anywhere in on the road in terms of your ambitions, that if you keep on hitting conflict and keep on hitting conflict and keep on hitting conflict and keep, that is in and of itself like an instruction in terms of like your like journey like towards your goals, that says like you have to stop and now you have to go a different direction. Like sometimes it's not about like conquering the thing, it's about listening to like something that maybe, yeah, like because with this one it's like you really need to listen to your intuition really, really, you know, so John's like final, like, you know, piece of like really big advice. I'll just do like a quick sweep over it again. It's like, listen to your intuition. Like, listen to your intuition. Listen to your intuition. Like, again, like, listen to your intuition about people more than anything else. If something doesn't feel right, and he's saying like there are many times for him where like things did not feel right with a lot of the different people, even people like on his side, like things did not feel right. Like, and he's saying you have to listen to your intuition, because if something doesn't feel right, that is telling you something. And that's, I think, where like the bottom of the deck energy is like really about emotional intelligence, like in balancing, like, you know, your divine feminine and your divine masculine side. That means like having mastery over the part of you that receives and gives, like that sort of thing. You have to follow your intuition, because that, like, yeah, he's saying like when I look back over my life, I see like these points where I want to like make a different decision, and like one of them is like get myself straight on like what I feel, like what I actually want, like what my, you know, so because he's like saying your head will lead you wrong. Your head will lead you wrong. So he's really, like, really excited about this. He's saying your head will lead you wrong, but your heart is actually like that both things have to be on board in order for you to consider that like a compass that can navigate you. And like, you know, he says like, you know, so like, you know, where he would have, like when he like goes over his life and his mind, he's like, I would have chosen love over ambition. I would have spoken these things that I said sometimes, like with love. And I would have known that when something wasn't working, that I needed to take a different option. That was, yeah, he's saying like sometimes the information is take a different route. That sometimes he says sometimes your path to success is not pushing forward. Sometimes it's like totally amending everything. And you got to listen to your intuition about people. And if something doesn't feel right, it's probably because it doesn't, because there's a reason, right? As to what else do you want to bring through, like anything over like related to this stuff? Well, that's like a million. Right? We need to like shuffle. All right. Anything else with this? Take time to heal. Like, it's really important. Like, if you're like, yeah, I'm hearing like take time to wait. Yeah, he's got a point to make. 1 second. Right. Okay. So, this is advice for life that you want to offer. So it's like, yeah, he's saying like it will sicken you to try and keep too much control and to keep your heart out of it too much. That you need to take time to like heal. Because like, you know, so much of what he's saying about life advice is to have balance, you know? So like this position of like waiting for your ships to come in, like when you have like planted these like seeds, well, not even when you, yeah, waiting for your, this card is about waiting for your ships to come in. Your ships are coming, you're watching them come in, they've got you've put investment into those ships, and now they're returning that investment with hopefully profit. So this card is about watching your ships come in. And so basically he's saying part of what it means to invest in the right way. He's like a business guy. He's like, part of what it means to like invest in the right way is to consider, yeah, like he's like hidden costs, but like hidden costs related to yeah, he's saying like what you put out there is going to come back. So, you know, so think about what it is exactly that you're putting out there. Because if you're not if you're trying to avoid, if you're trying to control everything, and you're trying to keep your heart out of it, you're going to get something back that is like trying to control everything with no heart. And so there's a way in which like he's saying like, you know, take time to heal. If you want your ships to really come in, you have to put out a healed energy to retrieve a healed energy. That's a very interesting message. Yeah, like there's a sense in which like, what else is it? Like, what is, that's really heavy actually. Wait, what else do you want to say? Like, what, I need more on this healing, because I don't really know what that really means. Like, again, if it's like, well, okay, fine. Yeah, like there's this thing about like not getting caught up in like excessive like yeah, so there's a sense in which like, you know, don't be fixated on a goal, because if you put all of your eggs in one basket, and it well, no, he's correcting me, hold on, we got to get this right. Sorry, he's telling me to slow down. Okay, hold on. So this is basically saying that if something wants to crumble, don't stand there trying don't try to, yeah, he's like, don't try to defend something while you're wounded. Like, don't try to make decisions from like a place of like high emotions, because you'll do a lot of things that like like he's saying, don't be blinded by your ambitions, don't be blinded by your passions, because the goal should actually be to like move into calmer waters. Like there's like a warning here about like being smart and like managing like your passions, and having a goal that isn't chaos. Like, you know, that the end game should be calm and moving into like, you know, like a secure, calm sort of a thing, and not continuing with like a lot of high, what is this? Yeah, like he's basically saying like, you know, if he wasn't so caught up in like keeping control, and holding on to it and managing it, you know, that if he had taken a little time to heal, that he probably would have seen this tower coming. If he had had more of his heart in the game, he'd probably have seen this tower coming. And so he's basically saying, like, you know, if your goal doesn't include like peace, then you need to rethink what that goal is, because you're going to drive yourself right off of into a really bad situation. And so, yeah, the you know, John's advice is like, get your emotional intelligence in check before you go in head first on ambitions, because you will miss all of these important moments, and you really need to be very plugged into your intuition, especially when you're involving other people. And he's saying like everything needs to have like a discernible reason why you're doing it, that like comes from your heart, or else you're not going to have the right navigation. Like, and again, like your heart has to be on board with all decisions again, yeah, he's saying like your thoughts can really fool you, but your heart rarely fools you. Yeah, your thoughts can really fool you, but your heart rarely does. So he says to put that in the ambition is to think about it, to feel about it. And if things are off balance, to balance them. So that is like the life advice. Unless you want to add something. He wants some, yeah, so we're going to use oracle cards. So we're going to add some oracle cards here. No, these. Okay, fine. These ones. All right. He's like, you're doing a good job. All right. I'm seeing bullets on a grid. So I'm seeing, what is that? Something about bullets on a what? Huh. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm looking at here. Something about, oh, he's telling me to go to visit his grave. I will. Your grave? No, not your grave. There's bullets. I don't know. I don't understand. All right. Something about, okay, so. I'm seeing like a flood. All right, so here we have conception. All right. And Transition. Oh, wow. Oh, nice. Okay. So that, well, what, okay, let me just get a second to get a grip. So, what he's saying here is, like, it all really comes down to well, I'm going to read these. And then I'll tell you what what you're saying. Okay. So conception, this card says, the frequency of conception invites us to bring our consciousness to our origin, the place where everything in creation begins. It helps us to remember the infinite potential and possibilities of this space and what we can manifest through our own focused awareness and intention. Actually, like, he's almost speaking of like, well, let me read the second one. Transition. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence in our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. And then this last one is the Earth, 24. The frequency of Earth activates our deep connection to this physical plane by showing us the beauty of all the aspects of our Great Mother and revealing the more ethereal, spiritual aspects of our nature. So he's actually, like, what he's saying is, like, this is so much bigger than all you think. You know, you guys, but basically he is now, his energy is, like, really happy, like, very nice. Like, he's got a nice energy. So anyway, what's being said here is, dust to dust. He's kind of talking to me about soul's evolution to a certain extent, but his life, part of his life advice that he wants to offer is for you to understand that from the moment you're conceived until you until you transition out of life, you know, there's a continuum. There's a beautiful continuum, and that it's not a closed circle. I mean, this is like, he wants to bring so much information in, and it's hard for me to like get it all. So like, I'm just gonna sit here for 1 second and like listen closely, because I'm really having a hard time. It's big. It's like a big concept that he's trying to relay about the origin, like the very beginning, and where he is now, and what he understands as the structure of things as being, yeah, he's saying like what's really important is everything related to that which supports you, that which you truly are at your very core, and allowing yourself to not be rigid. He's saying like, do not be rigid. Adapt to things in a way that puts he's like, your own personal sovereignty first. But like, this is beautiful advice. Beautiful. So I love that. Anyway, let's keep going a little bit more. Sorry, I just had to fix something. It fell over there. Okay. We have to still do, how do you spend your time on the other side, which I'm very curious about. He wants me to just a couple of these. All right, right. A little bit more advice, just like a tiny little bit more. Yeah, he's emphasizing, he's like, stay pure at heart. Stay pure at heart, and like, and your heart will be well instructed, is almost what he's, yeah. What else? This is like a fascinating reading, even for me, honestly. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Bottom of the deck, he's got, you know, when it comes to taking adventures. So he's talking about adventures. You know, he's like, when it comes to taking adventures, you know, stay pure of heart so that you can trust the wisdom of your heart. Don't let the chaos and the, what is that? I don't know that word. I don't think anybody will. It's like a slang term for like, so he's saying like, stay pure at heart, so that you can trust the wisdom of your heart. And and he's almost saying like, know what you really want. And if what you really want is to do something for the world, for somebody else, he's saying like, that's fine. All great things happen from people wanting to do things that are great. He's like, you know, my adventure started with me wanting to do something great for my family. He's like, but if you don't know why you're really doing it, you're going to have a hard time trusting the wisdom of your heart. He's like, I was doing this for my family, but because there was so much anger and there was so much contention and there was like so much competition, usury, all of that like like being on the defense constantly made him like disconnect from being able to trust the wisdom of his heart. And that's where things went really awry, because it got scary in terms of being able to trust people. And so like he needed to be able to have that strong like inner compass, and he wasn't. He was starting to listen to different people, and that got things like really weird. And so he's like, you know, sometimes fear can corrupt your plans. And yeah, he's like, you know, he's saying sometimes fear can really corrupt your intuition. Because you start to listen to other people's intuition, you start to listen to other people, and then you're really cut off from the purity of the wisdom of your heart, and being able to trust the purity of the wisdom of your heart, and to like really like not, when you feel like out of control in that way, he says, get clear on what your motivations are. If it's your family, then he's like, then make sure you're there to be with your family. And if it's something else, like, you know, make sure that like that the goal is served by the process, is what he's saying, like very clearly. He's like, make sure that the goal is served by the process, because if the process has eaten the goal, then he's like, then it's a bad adventure. All right. So he's like, so yeah, so be very, when you're going on an adventure, be very aware that you want to trust the purity of your heart, the wisdom of the purity of your heart. Yeah. Trust the wisdom. That's good. So that's great life advice. Frankly, I think that was like very, yeah, trust, what was I say? Trust the wisdom of the purity of your heart when you go on adventures. That's like, so, I love that. I love that. It's very good. Okay, so let's keep going. So we're going to ask him how he spends his time on the other side, because I'm dying to know. I really am. Because, you know, with the cards that came out, the conception, transition, and earth, like I was really kind of almost feeling like there was this like, you know, the earth has its own natural like death and rebirth cycle. And so like my first thought was like, you know, is he alluding to like reincarnation? And he's like, that's a different thing. He's saying the soul's evolution is that of like the earth, where like the earth, something always dies and then something comes up again. He's like, so we see all of these examples, like when he's showing me like when a seed falls and then it becomes what are you showing me? Like, it's like the cycles that we see in nature, this are like, he's saying like the soul does that same regeneration, and so the evolution of the soul is infinite, he says, but like individual incarnations are specific. So he's like drawing this distinction between an individual incarnation, like he's like, as I am John, right? He's like, and me as Lisa, I'm an individual incarnation, and that is specific, and I am Lisa. And he's saying, but the soul, he's like showing me that like the evolution of the soul is like nature. And so like he's saying like part of him moved on, really, very much so, and like part doesn't. So it's like he's like, the soul's so much bigger than we understand, and he's saying that it's like it's multifaceted, and so like this specific incarnations have like their own almost like their own form of consciousness, and yet they're part of a whole. That's fascinating. That's really cool. That's beautiful, actually. Okay, I think that was like a really good like, you know, entryway into like talking about how he spends his time on the other side. Did I get that right? Well, what I was saying wasn't like, I don't know if it was nearly as like impressive as what I was seeing. I hope it translated well. Wow. That was really amazing. How he spends his time on the other side. All right, let's keep going. he spends time with family. He's showing me someone's hair. He's like pointing to his hair. What? He's kind of pointing to his face too. You spend time with family. Sorry, I'm trying to understand. It's like, are you talking about the election? I'm frustrated. I don't know. I don't know. He's pointing to his hair. But he does spend time with his family. So this is like your, yeah, I guess it's, he says his sister's kids. It's interesting that everything is, I was going to say everything's coming up in reverse, but it's not. So how do you spend your time on the other side? What is this? What are you showing me here? Boss. He's gained a level of mastery over, he's like, and dominion over what it is to be in the form that he's currently in right now. Yeah, like, it took a while to accept the death. It was a lot of grief, like, it was a lot of freaking out. And it was just this feeling, like, you know, honestly, like, he was real, like, in terms of regrets, like, not listening to intuition was like the main one, but he's really like gotten this great hold over his new natural environment. He said, what is this? He says, you know, one of the nice things about being where he is that he's not focused on any kind of ambition or trying to build something. There's a sense of, like, he's almost kind of alluding to like a type of retirement that is like very, he's like, there's no urgency to toil or, you know, race to any kind of a finish line, like saying, like, almost like with the Tower in reverse and the Moon in reverse. This is pretty intense. He spends a lot of time exploring things, actually. Like, when he's showing me the tower, he's like pointing to the walls. And he's showing me some mysteries over here with the moon. And so, oh, okay. In the reverse, it's like he spends a lot of his time like trying to look at the wreckage of his life and think about like how to solve certain mysteries that, you know, about what he was working on and towards from a place of like self-nurturing and emotional. Wait, no, what's that? You know, this is like, honestly, so much of what's trying to come through, like, I just don't understand. Like, I just don't understand. You know, but he's saying that there's, you know, a level of wish fulfillment that comes from being very connected to the divine. And that he really likes the bigger structures within, like, the fabric of the universe, almost is what it kind of feels like to me. Yeah, like, for him, like, there's a level of, like, he's like, my wish fulfillment is really in just, like, you know, interacting with like this divine energy, like understanding the bigger structures of things. Like, this is actually, there's a lot of satisfaction in where he currently is in terms of Again, like the spirituality and that is life, you know, like that actually is life. And all of that's connected to, and like how it informs the structure of the universe and the structure of our world. And so there's a level of satisfaction and like a lot of happiness around, yeah, he's still an explorer. He says, I'm still an explorer. But he stopped working towards, like, he's like, I want to move into a greater field of vision. And he is, but you know, a lot of this is a need to, I gotta get clarifiers because I'm not really sure what that is. He gets like frustrated. It's like, it's almost, it's almost like cute, you know? Like, I don't It is. It's like almost like, yeah. Let's see. So what is the three, John, I don't understand what you mean by that. This is cryptic to me and I don't understand that either too well. Show me more about the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, cool. Yeah, he's like, you know, being a master to none. He says there's a sense in which like, once he realized that like, once he understood where he was, like how, where things had like left him, he's actually going back. He's like, I want to kind of, he's like bringing us back. Oh, this is going to be so long. It's okay. He's bringing us sort of back to where he sort of landed. And he's saying, you know, like there's an ability to reach a level of mastery in oneself. And so he does a lot of he's saying like I do my own kind of manifesting. I do my own kind of creating. Like he's able to work with the elements really well and create of them. He's like really got all the tools that he needs most of the time. He's had to really reckon with this whole situation where he didn't give like the proper weight to the emotions, especially with the Tower in reverse. Yeah, he's like, everything crumbled and left me in a horrible like situation of being misunderstood and like mystery and that's actually part of it is like I'm being shown especially related to him being single, like he's punchy about certain things, but he's like, I very much wanted to marry. I know. It's like a very big regret actually, but in terms of, it's weird, like he's very private. I shouldn't. So with the Tower in reverse and the Moon, yeah, he's been very invested in like mining almost. Yeah, like getting to the bottom of these mysteries surrounding what happened to his life and really gaining a lot of emotional intelligence from that process. He's showing me, oh, somebody's retired. Okay, so he, see, yeah, so he spends a lot of time with family. He helps them. He's showing me that he, you know, he does a lot on his own to try and, you know, he's assembled a lot of the tools to create what he wants in the way of influence. There's a lot of emotional fulfillment for him where he is right now. He spends time with somebody who's retired, and there's a woman here. But there's somebody specifically that retired that he spends a lot of time with. Who is that? Okay. This is actually fun. I really like this energy. Like he's fun. Funny, like punchy. But in a fun, good way. Alright, so yeah, he's like someone who did a lot of work, like really the lion's share, and who's retired. He spends a lot of time with him, and let's see. Yeah, like the afterlife, like this is John enjoys the afterlife. tremendously. But he's sort of like saying like, you know, your soul, you know, he's kind of saying like soul evolution. He's helping this feminine energy make wise decisions. is where, so he spends a lot of time working with this feminine energy here, helping her make wise decisions. Spends a lot of time with someone who did a lot of work here with the 10 of the 10 of staves. That's wands. That's like, that's holding like the burden of all the every, like somebody who did a lot of work. What's the lovers here? He's saying someone who did a lot of work and had to make a lot of choices, like, and which choices, like, he's saying like he spends a lot of time with him. Yeah, and her. So there's a masculine energy and a feminine energy. And the feminine energy, he's helps her like think straight. I don't know. But so you're telling me, like, I guess I was like wondering more about like the afterlife, like your like afterlife writ large, except spending a lot of time with the people that he's still connected to through family, and doesn't spend that much time in Lincoln County. Yeah, not really. No, not that much time. No. Okay, so with the, yeah, he says he's got like a lot of options. Like there's a lot of, you know, he just lets his like passions and his interests sort of drive him around. You know, there's definitely, you know, he's like the, you know, the soul is very big and multifaceted. He has moved on to a large degree. Yeah, so that's where, and then we're gonna just do any last thoughts, I guess, on the Lincoln County War, since I'm doing like this historical thing. Well, you did like this whole thing in the beginning about the Lincoln County War, pretty much talking about how you want people to, what you want people to know about you. Do you want it? Okay, so this is what happened with this reading. So in the beginning, all right, final thoughts on the Lincoln County War, and then a few final thoughts on, well, I'll just see what else comes through. So, oh, all right. Let me show something. Okay, so he wants to use these, which I forgot about, but that was that's a deck that I just don't usually use because it is Victorian, which is why I grabbed it. But so we're gonna get some cards here. He's like, the reading was a victory. This reading was really a victory. Is that? Oh yeah. So, you know, the advice on the Lincoln County War is just to like revisit it with, you know, an eye towards like casting a fair conclusion. Finally, please. He's always asking the United States. He's like kind of asking the government to take a stand on like, you know, right and wrong in that situation, and call right and wrong, and to just like look at things from a perspective that he's like there's not any ambiguity, you know, in the record, and so like, why is there ambiguity? Yeah, like he's almost saying like, you know, you've got me stuck in a position where it's just like not being a good friend. Like he's basically saying like, you know, my last thoughts on the Lincoln County War is like, you know, you know, with the to leave what's unsaid in and of itself, like leaves things in a place where there's no, you know, ability to really form a conclusion about what actually happened, and you know, and to stop looking at the wrong thing and like call it what it is, because calling it like something else is not particularly being a good friend. That's basically saying it's not being a good friend. So that's fascinating. I'm gonna just shuffle a couple more cards here. He's showing me like this is enough with the Lincoln County, and he's just going to show me something on his own, and I'm just going to follow it. So I'm going to get a couple of the tarot cards and then just see what he wants to bring through with that other deck. And then I guess we're going to finish off, because we've been going for like an hour, and over an hour now, I think. This is a fascinating reading though. with these. The sense of humor is phenomenal, I have to say. Like, I don't know who would, message of concern. A child. Imprisonment. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. And there's a main female and a privileged lady. All right, I'm gonna see what he wants to say about this real quick. This actually, I'm not sure. So he's talking about someone who is a privileged lady that he left behind at a great distance. You know, even though that's in the reverse, I think, yeah, trying to move his family into a more, yeah, it doesn't matter if that's reversed. So like somebody, this privileged lady that was left behind, there was a message of concern relating a child. Oh, I have no idea. Okay, this is something that he's been helping somebody with. This might be like a part of the message that I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So John's basically saying that I think this is to family, maybe. Somebody who like was stuck with like a secret, I think, for a really long time. Somebody held on to something that kept them very much like bound for a really, really long time related to all of this. And it was in defense of a child. Like, okay, hey, this reading just got weird for me too, but he's been working really hard to create something in defense of the kid or the child here. I think he's saying like in defense of like his family almost, who were really stuck in a position. Yeah, like this whole thing put someone in a really bound position, where they were trying to hold on to like every penny here with the Four of Pentacles. And there's a sense in which he wants to whoever the matriarch, the main female here, maybe it's his mother. See, this is kind of, yeah, so this is like super specific, but yeah, he's saying he like never left his family. He just didn't. So he's still like helping them. Yeah, he says he's like really happy. Like he loves them. But you know, he's still there. He's still trying to protect them, and like as the offspring go, and like there's a lot of guilt here about money, about the position that people were left in. And so this is never left. You know, it seems like as long as there is reproduction going on in the family line, like he will be concerned and kind of trying to make it up, but at the same time, yeah, trying to, like, again, still trying to help the family, really. So that's cool. I mean, that's a really beautiful message. And so I think that like I think the beauty of this reading is just, so this is like a Wild West legend, and ultimately we get to the end of it, and this is someone who cares deeply about his family, like even so many generations down the line. And so I think that's beautiful. And if there's anything else he wants to get through, now is the time. Yeah, so he's, this is actually just kind of a thank you, but, there's a Queen of Pentacles. I think there's a female in the family, that he's invested in helping, or, you know, just helping maintain whatever has already been accumulated. Like, yeah, he's still building the wealth of the family somehow. Yeah, the King of Pentacles on the, yeah, he's like saying, like, I'm still really a big part of like supporting this family going forward, and like supporting their doing well in all areas, especially if, like, with kind of an emphasis on finances almost here. But that, you know, wanting that family to be like as established as possible is continuing to be like a part of this mission. And he's like saying, like, there's no like obligation. It's not like stuck between worlds. It's just like, you know, something that's good. This is such a cool message. I don't know where's your family? But anyway, let's keep going, because this is really quite beautiful. Yeah, compassion, coherence, and the throat chakra. So we did well today with this reading. We did well. Like, this is, he's saying that there's been tremendous compassion for him also throughout the generations, that's being noted, and that this reading was remarkably coherent for him, and he feels that he was heard and that he spoke well, and that the message was gotten across. So there's a good feeling about that. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think that's everything. The bottom of the deck energy here we have is change. And so there's a sense in which, like, he says, even there's change. There's always change, like, even within, like, his own. But yeah, so this is everything that's come through. And I hope that was fun and interesting. Like, it was fun for me to do. And for any, like, I kind of feel like all the Wild West buffs are very, I don't know if this is going to, like, find anyone in that community, because it's not anywhere that I am. Yes. Okay. One last thing, and then I'm done. We're going to do the Bibliomancy with this book that he has letters in. So let's just move this out of the way before I forget, because I guess that's part of the plan, because it is. And here we go. So I have no idea. All right, ready? Shit, look at this. So this says, to increase the amount of money possessed by the Tunstall family for their aggrandizement. That's a good one. My ideas of future happiness consist in the thought that if I am successful, I shall have a home for dear old men to bring Jack and Punch up in, and that you and the mater should be able to put your legs under some of my mahogany as soon as possible. If it was only to see what it felt like, and my idea of future sorrow would be to see my three sisters enjoying any less luxury than you have been able to afford them. Perfect. Was that not perfect? So he's still on that with the family aggrandizement. Still doing it. And cool. That was fun. All right. So that was a tarot reading with John Henry Tunstall. And I mean, I think I'm going to do this again. So if you like it, let me know.